Ladies and gentlemen, Alicja Snarska, humorowisko.
So, hi everyone. If you attend Polish technical school, there is this concept of odchamiać. I don't know if you're aware of it, but basically, literally, it means something that makes you less of a bore. So basically, something that makes you more cultural and eloquent. And, actually, it means basically a humane subject in a technical school. So it is my pleasure today to be the odchamiacz of Dotnetos. And I'm gonna tell you that there's more to life than code. So first of all, a few words about me. As a person mentioned before, I started my career in a startup. I learned to code. I wasn't very good at it, but I was hired. I was hired by Microsoft, where I became audience evangelism manager. So basically, I was working with developers, but more on a technical marketing stuff like evangelism. And then I became a technical evangelist, and I was there for several years. Then I had a classic corporation breakdown. So basically, I was not working. I was unemployed for over a year. I was traveling, trying to find my mission, trying to find my purpose. Then I came back to Warsaw again because I was working both in Poland and in the US. And I came back to Warsaw and I decided that's where I want to be. And I started to work at market. Now I also do marketing, but it's a small local company that is managed in here, and like every decision is actually made in here. So I'm not that dependent on the structure. And I study psychology and I do a lot of stuff. So basically I have a lot of interests and I try to develop myself very often. So this is not my presentation, but that was the first thing that came to my mind when Shimon asked me if I wanted to have a presentation at Dotnetos. So I was thinking, okay, but what it should be about. So basically, I'm not that great at .NET. I will not give you a deep dive presentation about, memory. And so they said non-technical one. But the humane studies are also so broad. So I was thinking about showing you paintings. I thought about putting on some music. I thought about discussing literature. There's so many things that are happening outside of coding that it's just so hard to decide. But I know that this is a very technical conference, and your brains are probably heated up to the maximum levels from all the deep dive presentations that you had. So I'm just going to do like a chill presentation so you can relax, so you can enjoy it, and you can basically it's going to give you a little bit time to reflect about where you are in life, what you want, what you don't want. Just sit back and enjoy. So I'm going to start with a very bold opening statement. Okay, it's going crazy. The rest of my slides now, but the thing is, it's all about people. So I know that it might be a bold statement for some of you because you go and you sit in your computer and you do amazing work and you think hard and you use your intellect a lot to solve some problems, solve some issues, build solutions. But at the end, when you think of it, our life, we're not islands. Our life, it's all about people. So basically, we have our friends and families, so the relations that are very important for us, and I think I'm gonna just have to keep looking for that. So we have friends and family, so people that are close to us that we wouldn't be who we are without them, basically. We have our teamwork. So if you're a developer, there's a very slight chance, I don't know, I keeps doing this, maybe I'm gonna quit this thing. So you probably work in a team, so you have to communicate with everyone. You have to find goals, you have to find solutions, you have to basically share the work you're doing. You're not an island, as I said. You can be a monk, and it's okay. You can close yourself, high somewhere in Tibet, and just be by yourself and not having to do anything with anyone. But in the society that we live in, we're not islands. and also with the business. So basically, you're making an app, you're making a product, but I don't know, like it just keeps getting, I'm just gonna keep returning, like it's not the time yet, man. So yeah, when you, I don't know, I'm just gonna turn it off. I don't know what is happening with this thing. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about business and you're gonna look at my screensaver. That's cool too. So when you think about business, why you're making your product, why someone hires you, why do you get paid as well as you do? Why do you get paid to develop yourself, to be better? Basically, the only reason is because someone wants to make money or change the world. Like, these are two, let's say, two paths, but there are two things in this. And at the end, it's all about the people, because if someone makes a product, if your company makes a product, like, it's not a product for a tree, it's not a product for a sea, it's not a product for, I don't know, volcano. It's a product for other people to use, to buy. So basically what you have to consider in business a lot is human needs. So every business is about fulfilling people's needs. Marketing is about creating the needs, but it's basically all about the human needs. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I'm gonna try again. Okay. Nope. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go through human needs, the basic needs that are not as basic as we think they are. The self-actualization, which is the theme, and showing it as a DevOps. Then I'm gonna do a +1 to the classic methods. I'm gonna show you some statistics because I know data is important and I wanna focus on that as well. And I wanna talk about a calling because that's something that we all kind of have. So we have our something that drives us, something that makes us wake up in the morning and go do our business. So yeah, and then I'm gonna sum it up. So this is a pyramid that I suppose all of you know. Haven't someone heard about Maslow's pyramid of needs hierarchy? Okay, a couple of. So did you raise your hand because you heard of it? Okay, cool. So I assume that most of you have. Like, it's a very basic thing. Is they teach us this in a primary school. So yeah, it's kind of basic, and you might be thinking, why is that important? Why should I even care? Like, there are many reasons why you should care, because as I mentioned before, like, first of all, it's all about people. So at some point, if you understand people, you understand how the world works. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, if you want to achieve your goals, like, first, you need to understand what is your need and why do you even want to achieve something. Like, I want to become a millionaire, but why? And how do I get there? Like, you have to know what you want, because for me, I don't want to be a millionaire, so I'm not going to go to do things that make me one. You know, I'm going to go, knowing myself, I'm going to choose the different path for me. Also, avoiding conflict, and conflict resolution. So I was at this training once, a couple of years back, that was basically a conflict resolution about mediating between people, about understanding the other side and basically avoiding conflicts. And the biggest thing I've learned is that it's quite easy, honestly, because it's all about the needs. So if, I don't know, your girlfriend, your boyfriend is mad at you because you want to go out in the evening with your friends, like, it's not because they're like really dumb and they don't understand that someone can have fun. It's more because they don't have their need for security met. So they don't feel secure enough. They don't feel that some of their needs are met. So that's why they're being jealous. It's not because they're bad people. So yeah, and being happy. So that's like an ultimate goal for everyone. So you want to be happy, but in order to be happy, you need to understand yourself and you need to understand what needs you have that are not met yet. So yeah, so we're back at the pyramid, and I wanted to ask you a question, like, how many of you believe that they're at the self-actualization step? 1. Okay, not many of you. I'm surprised. I thought like coming to conferences and learning more about .NET, like you're going to be at the top. But okay, sure. So I'm like, what I want to do, if you don't feel like you're at the top now, which apparently you don't, or you're very shy, but if you don't feel like that you're at the top, like I'm gonna go like briefly through them, but I want you to just consider where you are. Like just as I mentioned, it's a chill session, so just chill, lay back, and think about where you are, what maybe you can do better, what maybe you're awesome with and you're satisfied with. Like that's just for you. You don't have to share it with anyone. Just like think about it for a second. So physiological needs. So these are like basic concepts of having enough food. So I believe you have enough food. Having shelter, so having a roof over your head. Sleeping, that's something that might be an issue for many of you. I know that it has been for me, that I wasn't sleeping enough. So I was sleeping like 6 hours a day because I was thinking that's enough for me. Like when I stopped working, I realized that is not enough for me. Like I totally need more sleep. And when you think of it, that's like super basic need. It's just like a need to sleep and to eat. And we still somehow kind of forget about it in our everyday life. With safety, like what can be its safety? It's a financial security. So basically we want to know that we have enough money to survive, that if we get sick, we'll be fine. The job stability, that we buy insurance policies when we go traveling and stuff. So these are like also, I do believe, basic concepts for us, developed people with good jobs and, you know, having a good time at a conference. So another level is a bit harder because it's love and belonging. So it's basically every human has a need to feel love and accepted, whether it's by your wife, your boyfriend, your, I don't know, someone you date with, or, but also like in a broader sense. So all the social connections you have. Like I admire very much the technical communities that are here in Poland, because they do create this kind of a social bond and acceptance. So you have interests in technology, so you go to a place where you meet people that have the same interests, so you can talk, you can share, you feel like you belong somewhere, like you have your group somewhere. So like, I don't know, like think for a second, like do you feel good with yourself, with how much accepted you are by your close ones, by the society you live in? Like that's something that you can work on, definitely. Another thing, and it's almost the top, is the esteem. So basically being appreciated. So is your work appreciated? When you, I don't know, when you finish your job, do you feel like your coworkers, your managers, I know also your family, like do they appreciate you as a person? Do they appreciate what you do? Do they appreciate who you are? And that can be like in a lot of areas. It can be a knowledge, like that you're so knowledgeable and people go and ask you your opinions about stuff because you know so much. It can be competence because you're so good at work. And it can be many things, but it's basically feeling appreciated and feeling that you're valuable to the society and to other people. And there you have a self-actualization stage. So a stage where you know yourself, when you know what you want, you know where you want to go, and you basically go there. With this one, it's hard enough because with the basic needs, like, okay, you buy a house, you buy yourself food, and you sleep, and it's done. And self-actualization is not that easy. I like to compare it to DevOps. So I kind of stole the Atlassian DevOps, this, how do you call it? The infinity sign. And the loop. Yeah, and I do believe that it is. The self-actualization is a lot like DevOps, because basically it never ends. Because you as a person evolve, like every day, every hour, every week. And when you evolve, you have to self-actualize yourself constantly. So once, let's say you're at plan, so you know yourself, you know what you want, you know how to get it, then you build it, then you like integrate it in your life, then you see how it works, what effects it brings. And then you get feedback from the world, from your close ones, from yourself as well. How do you feel about it? And then you're back at the plan again, because knowing that as much, you're a different person, so your plan is going to change. You're going to be having different conversations. You're going to be having different talks. And yeah, and basically, you're going to be a different person. So that's why like self-actualization never ends, which is kind of fun, kind of terrible, because you always have to work on yourself. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, so here we have the basic pyramid that I just went through all of it. And this pyramid was created in 1943, I believe. And it was created by Maslow when he was fairly young. And as he was growing, he was also like thinking about it. Like as we all grow, we are thinking like whether the decisions that I've made, whether the models I've made in the past were good, or maybe they can be improved. So Maslow decided that his pyramid needs improving. So he was about 30 when he created that. So 30 years later, in 1970 something, he added one more thing to the pyramid. And what he added was this. No, it wasn't. I just wanted to get like easy laughs, but what he really added was the top piece, the self-transcendence. So basically, the sense of meaning. So finding a meaning, finding a calling to what we do. So it's not only about us creating our goals and going from one thing to another, but like to just give meaning to a life. So, it's his definition of transcendence is fairly long, and you can read it. I tried to read it several times, and it makes sense, but I can give you a minute. I'm not going to read it out loud. Okay, but the transcendence, like, it sounds very... Like when I heard of transcendence, to me it sounds like someone wants to like tell me that Jesus will save me. Like it is a form of transcendence, obviously, or that there's gonna be a lady in TV that I'm gonna call and she's gonna tell me my future, because she's connected to the other world and to the mission. But basically, transcendence means the existence or experience beyond the normal or physical level. And I don't know, have any of you watched Silicon Valley, the HBO series? Oh yeah, a couple of you have. So basically, like this subject, I'm very close to this subject because when I was working, as I said, my whole career has been like in IT. And there's like a lot of stigma about any form of spirituality. And I really like the Silicon Valley, where they did like the part with the Tibetan monk, which was cool. But also there was a part when the team was looking for some kind of partners for their product, and they found partners that were gay, and everyone said, okay, that's cool, like we can live with that. And then they realized the other partners were Christians, and it was like, no, that's not acceptable. So that's kind of a stigma that is around this subject, which I understand. And but there's also a movement called a new atheism. So basically, it was started by Sam Harris, who is a known scientist, and he basically created a movement with two other guys that is totally against religion. So basically, it's not only not believing that God exists, but it's very proactive criticism. So basically they say, don't believe them, don't believe in superstition, don't just science is the answer, only science can save you, like don't believe anything that you cannot research, basically. So yeah, so it was funny to me to see that he wrote a book, and now there is an app about it called Waking Up. And it's about opening yourself to he calls it also transcendence, but it's like non-religious transcendence. So basically it has no kind of a religion context. So basically it's about meditation, and that 60% people claim that when they meditate, it helps them significantly in their lives. And yeah, and I wanted to show you some statistics to maybe like, I don't know, like numbers are power, right? So yeah, 76% people try to meditate because of the general wellness. It can help relieve depression, which is funny, it helps back pain. I don't really know how, but somehow. Yeah, and like it helps increase productivity, like it helps your health and it helps your DNA. So that's like a lot of benefits, and that's like one of the, let's say, secular ways to be transcendent in a way. And there's also another way to do that, which is more kind of, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. So it's psychedelic drugs. Like really, I don't want to encourage you to do that, but that's like one of the things that like helps you get to like the transcendence level kind of. And there were like basically studies as well, many studies, especially recently, people have been learning and talking more about psychedelic drugs and their influence on people's lives. So you can research that if that's something that you're interested in. And also therapy. Like therapy, it's as easy, like understanding your emotions, going to therapy, talking to someone about what you feel deep inside can actually help you be better. And this is in Polish, but it basically means that 35% people in Poland declared they want to go to psychotherapy soon. So that's a lot. And that now it's 15%. So that trend increases because basically people go to a higher level, let's say in a pyramid, where they want to like understand themselves more and they want to understand their connection to everything. And by understanding yourself, I mean understanding their emotions. So yeah, so then we have the emotional growth and spiritual growth. So I kind of, when I was making this presentation, I was thinking, okay, but what is the difference? And to be honest, at this point, I don't see the difference. So when I stopped working for Microsoft, as I told you, I had this like journey. I was traveling a lot, thinking about what I want to do. And I also went to therapy. And I feel like the emotional growth that I had was very significant towards what I had working. And at the same time, it's some kind of opened me to meditation, to do other things. So I do think they're kind of similar. So yeah, so if you're somehow, you feel reluctant and you feel like spiritual growth is totally not for me, like that's some bullshit. So you can do like emotional growth, and that's fine as well, because you develop yourself, you develop as a person, and you're not only like develop yourself in the area of being more technical and having more technical knowledge, but also you develop your other part of yourself. So then we come to sense of meaning and mission. So that is like super hard when you think of it. There are so many things that you should consider or could consider as something that you want to give your life to. So basically, why you're working. Like, okay, you're working to get money, but like you can work in somewhere else. You can work in another sector. You can work for banks. You can work for NGOs. You can work for, I don't know, for the company that makes the hearing impairment, apparatus. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And what is your personal mission? Like, it's finding that I thought was like really, really hard. But then I read about it. Like, I read about it so much. And and I realized that in theory, there are only 5 paths. So it's not that hard as it appears. So there are only 5 types, and like it's one of the theories, obviously, but there are 5 types of people and 5 types of calling. So basically, each calling can be in a different way got by other people, but you can interpret it in your own way. And it is taken from like more religious-oriented books. So yeah, so that's it. So I'm just gonna give it all to you. And yeah, but don't worry about the names, because it's basically it's the paths. So you have a pioneer path. So if you have a like entrepreneurial spirit, you still want to start something new all the time. You want to get to new projects. You have new ideas coming. You start something, then you get bored and you need to do something new. Like that would mean that that's like your path, basically starting new things and opening up businesses. So that's like one path. Another path is a profit path, which is like probably not very for you, I'm assuming, because it's like about social activists. So I assume like all the Greenpeace warriors fighting for the oceans are their path is a profit path, basically. Another path is evangelists. So it's funny because there are actual job names called evangelists, but it's about preaching. So all the people who sell stuff. So when you go to clients and you try to convince them to get something, or marketers. So when you try to show a product in a way that would be, interesting for others. So all this stuff, like it's basically it is cool to think that it's a path, and I'm not being somewhere else. I'm not doing something. It's a path that I'm on. And yeah, the other one is a pastor. So it's people focused. So people who are on this path are usually therapists, counselors, or people who help other people, or like coaches and stuff. So you basically have interest in people's psychology and you want to help them in a way. And the last path is a teacher. So basically someone who gets a lot of knowledge, so who enjoys getting a lot of knowledge, processing it, and like thinking of solutions. So basically, but if you think about teachers, when you're a teacher, it's not only about getting knowledge, but also sharing it. And that's basically what this path is. So it's the sharing the knowledge that you possess. And yeah, and so to think about it, I wanted to like ask you, think about, I hope you have some reflections during these presentations about how are you meeting your needs. So are you on your way? Are you on your path? Like, do you know what is your purpose? What is your meaning? Like, maybe you answered this question today, maybe you didn't, but I hope like maybe somehow it helped you to spark something, or to even consider some kind of other things that are happening. And yeah, and I'm way shorter, but we had we were late and I don't see my clock, so I'm just gonna tell you that if you want to reach me, you can email me, you can find me on Medium and on Instagram. And yeah, and I also wanted to thank my employer who allowed me to be here and doing work time. So thank you so much.
Alicja Snarska.